Hello and welcome to another one of our vlogs. First thing to say, most important this week, is that the Turn of the Screw audio version is finished. It's out, it's available. You can find it on our website or any of your usual sort of places where you find podcasts if you search for Boxtail Soup. Please do have a listen, share it, leave a review for it, tell people about it, like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. That would be hugely helpful. We'd really appreciate that.
The second thing to say, I suppose, is that this week's vlog is going to be a little bit shorter probably than the other ones because we've actually had a few days off. We were supposed to be going to Portugal on holiday and obviously we couldn't go there, so we decided to just take a couple of sort of staycation days. And we haven't really taken any days off since the beginning of the lockdown, and it's tiring to say the least, so we thought it was about time just to kind of, take a little bit of time for ourselves. So we did that. But we are going to talk to you about the design for Hansel and Gretel, which we did prior to the lockdown actually happening, and we thought we'd show you the drawing so that you can then see what it is we're going to be making over the next few weeks.
Yes, because these shows are coming up, and as far as we're aware, it's all going ahead. So for the time being, we've got to treat it as if it's happening. So we're going to be working exclusively on that. So
first things first, really. With these, I like to do a sort of concept drawing, I suppose, and get the colours. This was actually quite an easy one in a way because it's just sort of fairly limited to what you can do. We're in a studio space. The studio space is not huge. However, we have got, for the first time, we can actually make a permanent backdrop, which we've never been able to do before. Everything's always had to tour. So we have given ourselves a little bit more freedom to maybe have some things to fill out the set a little bit. Hansel and Gretel, obviously, you probably know the story, I should think you do. It's mainly set in the woods, so really the first thing was to make it look Christmassy and like a forest. So we've gone quite traditional in that sense with the colour scheme, greens, browns, and then the kind of candy stripe for the fact that obviously they go when they find the candy covered cottage, that seemed to work.
I think with something like this, there's a danger that, well, you have to take into account what it is.
Yes.
Like it's a Christmas show.
Yes.
For a certain audience who are coming to see a Christmas show, so they have certain expectations.
Yeah, so this is for 3-year-olds upwards, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and their families.
And their families.
We want everybody to enjoy it. So while you want to do something interesting with it and have a little bit of an original spin on it, you also don't want to do that thing where it gets completely reinterpreted and people are disappointed because they're not getting what they expected.
Exactly.
They kind of go to see it and think, well, this isn't the stories I meant. This isn't the.
So rather than go kind of over clever or high concept with the basis of the set, we've gone for trying to get a bit of magic into it. So things turning into other things, things appearing out of things that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah. And what I like about that is that the idea that when you come into the space, it kind of looks like the magical candy forest sort of thing that you would picture when you think of Hansel and Gretel, and then there are still some little
surprises.
Yeah, exactly, magical surprises that will hopefully make an impression.
So I had a go at some various ideas for things. Here then was things that I started to kind of settle on. You can see where I've not filled out the colours is probably because I decided that really wouldn't work and we wanted to go for something simpler. So the idea is that we have these snowflakey lantern kind of things hanging down from the sides of the stage. Mm-hmm. They might then turn into sweet lanterns once you get to the candy cottage that belongs to the witch.
And it's nice to be able to do that because we know that the show is going to be in that space for the whole month. So, that's unusual, actually, that we're able to decorate the space and use as much of it in that way.
Yes, to actually hang things from the ceiling and that kind of thing. We can never normally do that.
That's nice.
So I think I'm just going to turn the page for a second to show you. This is kind of the starting point. So when the audience come in, they will come into something that looks a little bit like this. We have trees along the back. 2 of these front trees turn around to become other things as a hint of what they're going to become in their trunk. And then you've got these magical snowflakey lanterns. There's little doors, which hopefully while the children are waiting for the show to start, they might spot. That's the idea, that they might be thinking, oh, what's going to come out of that? Or who's going to be behind that? Then so that one of the trees turns around to become the house that the children live in with their parent. So we've got probably have a couple of little logs, won't we, to sit on. So that's that tree kind of turned around with a little window that opens up, and then it would turn back the other side and would be just a tree again. At night time, we have a sequence with the forest at night. We wanted all the little doors and windows in the tree. So the doors will be something they might have seen, like I said, before the thing starts, but then there'll also be windows, so it's like all the wildlife that lives inside the forest, so that you'd have this, suddenly it would all light up and twinkle.
And we've got a couple of other little tricks, possible
Yeah.
lighting tricks to investigate up our sleeves for a sort of nighttime transformation.
And then the biggest problem, really, I suppose, to try and solve is the appearance of this candy-covered cottage. And obviously we can't wheel out a full-scale house that we can all get inside. There just isn't room for that. Plus, we wanted it to be this sort of magical reveal. So we've gone for it in stages. So the tree will be, you won't see any of the door to begin with. You'll just see it as the beginning, like this, with just the candy-striped trunk. Then it will reveal once, so a fold will happen where you'll see a little bit of the door with this cupcake lantern, which I actually designed for Little Grim Tales, and we could never put it in because we didn't need it in the end. So I'm very excited.
Hansel and Gretel, of course, part of Grimm's fairy tale. So for a while we were considering that as being part of the main, it appears in a very small way in Little Grim Tales, but we had a tree design for it, so it was going to be a bigger part of that show.
Yeah, so I'm very excited that we can bring my cupcake lantern back. And then the next reveal is this bit of the tree folds back that way. You then see the door, the whole of the door. And then the final reveal is that the whole thing turns around. So you then get the inside of this tree. Another tree also turns around to reveal a kind of gingerbread style oven sort of thing. And then, like we said, we'll probably have these snowflake lanterns turning to make sweet lanterns over here. So we've got various ideas, but it's all to do with, it's again keeping it simple, keeping it looking magical, not too out of the ordinary to begin with, so that it's magical, it's Christmassy, it's foresty, but then that there's these lovely moments of reveal. And this isn't everything, this is the basic stuff really. And then, like Noel's saying, we've got lots of other ideas for magical reveals and moments where we can probably throw fake snow on the kids and do a bubble moment and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, you want it to be fun, and we want them to be involved, and you want them to feel as though they're in this magical forest for the duration
and
of the show.
The lovely thing about the studio theatre at the Everyman in that sense is that the audience very much become part of the show because they are so close. So we want to make sure that we use that as like a good thing rather than
the intimacy is
squashed.
It's part of it.
Yeah.
Part of it for them to feel engaged.
So we'll take some photographs of these and show them at the end, because I don't know how well you could actually see them with me pointing. But
yeah, it's a funny one because it's only set really in the forest. It's not like you've got a lot of different locations that you visit, and yet the gingerbread cottage is quite iconic. So you have to be able to do something that has a nice impact for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, hopefully.
So that's the design, the basic design for Hansel and Gretel. So we'll be getting on with that over the next couple of weeks. We'll probably go back to puppets for the beginning of next week. So we'll go back to the squirrel and the rabbit and those sorts of things that you were seeing in that half-made robin. And we'll carry on then with this set probably after that. But thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to have a look for The Tale of the Screw. It's on our website, available to download or any good podcast app. And have a good week. We'll see you next week.